What's up, Liverpool fans? Good morning. It is 6:30 a.m. here in the States. We are here for the Liverpool Newcastle United team news analysis. As always, I am Steve. Hour before game time, lineups just came out. Super excited for this game. Huge game for Liverpool. Massive implications for us. Need to go out and get the 3 points with Chelsea and West Ham playing each other this weekend. Can definitely see ourselves jumping into the top four, and all of a sudden the race will be on for sure. Everyone in the chat, really appreciate you guys. Go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't done it yet. But otherwise, let's get right down to it. Please let me know your thoughts in the comments on the starting lineups. But otherwise, let's take a quick peek. So looking at the Liverpool lineup, it looks like we are going to be going with 4-2-3-1 today. We have Alisson in net as always, with Phillips still injured. Fabinho slides back into center back with Kabak, along with Alexander-Arnold and Trent Alexander-Arnold and Robertson at the outside backs. So the double pivot looks like it's going to be Thiago and Wijnaldum, with Mane, Salah, Jota, and Firmino starting up top for the Reds. Really interested to see that. To be honest, I thought this would be a game where we'd see a James Milner in the lineup. So very interested to see a club going all-out attack. If you remember last time we played these guys, their defense played like prime early 2000s Brazil defense, blocking everything. We couldn't get any shots on net. So it's going to be really interesting to see Klopp just send it all at these guys early. Already in the chat, we got Aliaka. Thanks for joining. Really appreciate you. So it's going to be definitely a very, very interesting game here. Just getting into I've already seen some reactions from the Newcastle fans. They are not too thrilled with their lineup. Sounds like they're all pretty upset with Steve Bruce over there. So when you take a peek at what they have, their starting lineup here, it looks like they have Dubravka in net. They're going to have Fernandez, Clark, and Dumet as their three center backs. They're going to be playing a 5-3-2. They have Murphy at their right wing back, Richie as their left wing back. Midfield three is going to be Longstaff, Shelby, their captain, and Almiron. That was really surprising to see Almiron right there. If you watched our pregame show, Kendall thought that the only way Almiron would get in the lineup is if he started up top. So very interesting there. And then up top, you have Jolton and Saint-Maximin. So very, very interesting lineup for both teams, really. Again, I think the biggest surprise for me was no James Milner. It's going to be, I thought for sure, especially having Fabinho at center back, that he would be in there. And that really allows a guy like Robertson to get forward and be dangerous, because Milner is a little bit more defensive. Likes to fill in for Robertson and let him get forward because he's a lot more creative than he is. So the fact that Klopp's going with a 4-2-3-1, I'm sure it'll look like a 4-3-3 at times with Firmino getting really, really deep. But I do like to see the 4-2-3-1. I think that's good for us. I think it's really important to have all four of those guys out in the field. And if Firmino can be the Firmino of old, then we should have plenty of opportunities today. Wahomey in the chat. Fabinho not in the midfield means we have no one tackling, breaking up play, or controlling the midfield. Yeah, I think there's going to be a ton of responsibility now on Gini Wijnaldum / Thiago. Those two guys again, I think it's going to be a double pivot. Again, Firmino might drop back a little bit and be more of a 4-3-3, but they're going to have a ton of responsibility now defensively. It's going to be very interesting to see how that works for them. I mean, if all goes well, this could be really good for a guy like Thiago. We spent some time yesterday talking about he's a really good deep lying playmaker. So if he does find some time on the ball, it could be really good for us. But that's the issue with going up against a 5-3-2. That middle of the park is going to be absolutely crowded. There's not going to be a lot of space to pass. So that's why I think we're really going to have to live out on the wings today. Trent Alexander-Arnold, Robertson, and then the front three. We really need them to have good movement, and we need them to be able to find those spaces in behind the wing backs and in between the outside center backs for them. That's going to be a key area for me to watch. I really want to see Mane and Salah get a lot of opportunities on the ball right in that area. It's going to be very, really difficult. But I completely agree with homie. I don't think Genie and Thiago work as a double pivot. I think if it was Thiago and Fabinho, I would definitely agree that could definitely work. But now, I know Genie's better when he's a little bit more up the field, counting out passing lanes and doing things like that. He's not really a tackler, and we've seen Thiago. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets a yellow card in the first 20 minutes, having to do a lot of tackling in the midfield. I mean, luckily we're playing a team like Newcastle. The classiest guy that they have right now is in the midfield would be either Shelby or Almiron. So hopefully they're talented enough just to keep up with them. But Klopp's going all offensive today. I think he's thinking back to our last game against them at Newcastle when Newcastle's defense played extraordinary. They were just blocking everything in sight. We couldn't get any real good shot on that. So I think Eve here really nailed it on the head. I expected Milner to start, but going to a 4-2-3-1 should be fun. Yeah, for me, it shows ambition from Klopp. He does not want to have another slow start. He really wants to get out there, get a goal early or two, and really put the pressure on Newcastle to make them come out of their shell. We know that they're going to be playing a lot of defensive football, and let's be honest, like they're going to park the bus against us and do it early. So if we can get them out of that as early as possible, this is going to be better things for us. Eve also thinks, let's be clinical. That's all I ask for. We can't keep creating all these chances and not getting the goals. We should have beat Leeds. We had plenty of opportunities, especially when Ox came on and had that opportunity late. Gotta finish that. It's not good that you get those looks on that and you shoot it right at the keeper. I'm sick of seeing that. We know how good this team can be at finishing. Look at what we've done over the last 3 years. We need to get back to that and start playing better and getting those goals. Homie, yeah, Davey's not on the bench. Yeah, Eve adds up. He doesn't exist. He's a figment of our imagination. Yeah, definitely interesting. Just to shout out what the bench is. Where did that go? Let me see. Be a good game for a guy like Konate right now. I'll tell you that. I'd love to have him in the lineup right now. Make me feel really good about things. So on the bench for us, we have Curtis Jones, Naby Keita, James Milner, Shaqiri, Williams, Samikas. He's out of the basement. That's good to see. Alex Chamberlain and Adrian. So, yeah, again, Davies nowhere to be found. Again, you would think that this would be a game that he should be able to get in there and get some minutes. But again, it's pretty clear. What homie says it really well himself, that it's clear that he was brought in here just as a super security blanket. I don't expect him to be around next year. It's probably just going to be a quick turnaround sell with that guy. Chris Welch here, lineup I wanted to play a lot of them. Just go for it now for the season. Just worried about that double pivot. Completely agree. That's really the only concern is defensively how that double pivot's going to be. I mean, luckily we're playing a team like Newcastle. They're really talented and technical guys. Joelinton, if you want to say that, and Saint-Maximin, they're going to be up top. So luckily we have Fabinho dealing with those two guys. I am worried about Saint-Maximin and his pace going in between Kabak and Trent. That could cause some problems if Trent gets caught up too far up the field. Saint-Maximin will be able to blow right back Kabak, so that's another spot there. But yeah, otherwise the double pivot going up against that midfield three of Newcastle. Luckily, if it was any other team that had a little bit more talent in the midfield, it would definitely be a concern. But I think with a team like Newcastle, they're not going to come out of their shell too much. I only expect them to have a handful of opportunities, if that, in this match, knowing that they're going to be parking the bus. So I think that's why Klopp's going with that 4-2-3-1. That early goal and that first goal is going to be pretty vital, because if we get that first goal, get it in the first half, make Newcastle come out and chase the game a little bit. That's just going to open up more opportunities for us, and then that's when I think you'll see us be really, really dangerous, really clinical. Our boy Steve Stubbs here. Morning, Steve. I'm happy with that lineup. 4-2-3-1. Must be early in Boston. Yeah, I think it's about 6:50 in the morning right now. Of course, I had to have a late night last night as well, just to really give myself some pain this morning. But hey, anything for our beloved Reds, right? Got to do what we got to do. But yeah, no, I think it's going to be a really interesting match. The one good thing about going with the 4-2-3-1 and starting all these guys is that I think it's also going to be beneficial for anyone that you have to bring off the bench and change the game. So if we're chasing a goal, a guy like Shaqiri, he can slide right in there into any one of those spots in that midfield three, the 4-2-3-1, right across that line. I also think somebody like Oxlade-Chamberlain could benefit if he had to come off the bench and start getting some goals. That could be a good person for us. So I think it does give us flexibility with our lack of options on the bench as well. So I think Klopp has made the right decision here. Again, I'm a little surprised that a guy like Milner is not getting some minutes. If we went with the 4-3-3, I would almost guarantee you that Milner would be starting this game. So it's going to be really interesting to see how it unfolds. It's very, very important for us to go out and get a first goal and get the first goal in the first half, because if it goes in 0-0 into the second half, it's going to give Newcastle a ton of confidence. And the longer this game is tied, the more confident Newcastle is going to be about going out and getting 3 points against us. 4-2-3-1 screams, let's get this done early. Let's get it done right. So I hope we go ahead and do that. Chris Welch's prediction is going to be a 2-0 Liverpool win over Newcastle. It's going to be a tough, tight game. I also agree. Again, I think Chris Welch has made this point in our chat numerous times. Our team has struggled mightily against the low block this season, more so than past seasons. So we know we're going to be facing that this year. Today against Newcastle, they're going to completely play Mourinho ball, completely pack that box. Those defensive center backs, the three that they have, I don't expect them to leave their box. I bet all three of them are going to be in there. It's going to be super hard to break down. So that's why we're going to need a guy like Jota in the middle of the park with his hitting ability. Salah and Mane have to be ambitious. They have to get the ball in that space between the outside backs and the outside center backs, and they go out and win a one-on-one battle. For me, I kind of agree with Chris Welch's prediction. I think it's going to be something along the lines of 2-0, especially if Liverpool can go out and get that goal in the first half. That could open up things even more, and then that's when we could see something like a 3-0, 4-0 victory. But for me, some keys of the match: shutting down Saint-Maximin, can Fabinho and Kabak keep him quiet up top? They really, really need to do that. I don't remember seeing Joe Willock in the starting lineup. That's definitely big for us. He's a class player. The fact that a guy like Longstaff is in there kind of makes me chuckle a little bit. Wasn't expecting to see him in there. I think what homie said, hit that like button. If you guys are in here, we really appreciate it. Hit the like on this video. It helps more people see this channel, see this video. But ultimately, yeah, I'm really now seeing this 4-2-3-1 makes me really even more excited for this game. I think we're going to see Liverpool trying to create a lot of chances. Eve's expecting 8 players in the box against our side. And I completely agree. There's going to be a lot of people packed in there. And that's why Klopp's going with the 4-2-3-1. I think if Firmino can be like I think some of the best that we've seen Firmino is when he's been in this role here. So I'm expecting him to have a big match. And one of the things I always talk about when Jota, Mane, and Salah start is that they seem to just have much better movement and much more fluidity. And that can be a problem for those center backs. If we can make the center backs have to keep looking left and right and not always just be able to look forward and be relaxed there and know exactly where everybody is, that's just going to cause them to take one misstep here, one misstep there, and that's going to open up some passing lanes for us. So I want to see some movement out of those guys. And then finally for us, I think Trent and Robertson are going to have to get forward and get in and be very much part of the offense. When you go up against a 5-3-2, the space on the field is out on the wings. So Robertson, Trent, Salah, Mane, those guys need to go out and take advantage of that space. I also expect that when Thiago gets the ball, do not be surprised if he plays a lot of long balls into that space between the center backs and the outside backs. That's going to be on. It was on. I forget who we played. Actually, it might have been against Newcastle, or maybe it was Southampton when they sat in on us. That space is going to be there, and it's going to be open, and that's where Thiago can thrive. If he can just find time on the ball today, I think that he's going to be probably one of the more key players as well in the center of the park. We need his creativity. We need his ball spraying ability. And then Gini Wijnaldum, I hate to say it, but we need him to be super defensive today. He needs to be the cover for a guy like Thiago. I think Thiago originally was brought in to play a 4-2-3-1 in this system. He thrived in the 4-2-3-1 system at Bayern Munich. So I think Gini's number one responsibility needs to be defensive cover for Robertson, but then also for Thiago. He needs to allow Thiago to go find the space to find the ball and play those dangerous balls for us, because we're going to need some creativity from the midfield to break down the slow block. That's going to be a massive, massive thing for us in this match. Eve here in the comments, and appreciate you, Eve. You're on fire this morning. If you can get the Firmino that turned up last season against them at home, then it's an easy win. I need a performance from him. Yeah, and you're 100% right. I mean, this season, some of his best games have come in this number 10 role, and allowing him to be a little bit more defensive, but also allowing him to find the ball sooner and further down, closer to the center of the park, and not always just right around the box. When he plays the 10, you can tell that he doesn't have that burden of having to go out and score playing in that 9 role. I think that takes that away from him, and I think that takes that off his mind, and it allows him to do what he does best, which is track back defensively, be defensive minded, cut out the passing lanes, press like a madman. But then also when he gets the ball, when he's at his best, his link-up play with the front three is some of the best that we've ever seen at Liverpool. He's the guy who can go from getting the ball to the center of the park, beating a couple guys, and then linking up with Salah and Mane, and now Jota. I want to see that Firmino today, and I think a lot of fans need to see that Firmino today. I'm not one of them. I always have faith in Bobby. I think his role's changing, but I think if he can go out and get a performance today, that would be huge for him. And also it would be massive for our team going forward in this last 6 games or so left in the season. Again, it's 3 games. It's 3 points, much needed. Friend from Twitter, thank you for joining. Appreciate you, man. Hit that like and subscribe button if you haven't yet. Super appreciate you coming and checking out the channel. But 3 points, pretty much from here on out, every game we need to get 3 points. But this week especially is going to be massive for us. I think we're 2 points behind Chelsea and West Ham for the 4th and 5th spots. We're tied with Tottenham right now, and they have 1 game in hand. If we win today, there's going to be some sort of outcome in that West Ham-Chelsea game, whether they draw and then all 3 of us are tied on points. If one of them goes out and gets the win, all of a sudden, boom, we're going to be in the top 4. We need 3 points today. I don't care how we do it. I don't care if it's an ugly 3 points where we play like shit and we get a shitty-ass goal. We need 3 points. I mean, I would love to see a good performance. I think we're going to see a good performance. I think especially after everything that happened with Leeds and getting a draw there, but also just getting fed to the fire by the owners before that game and after that game, and having to answer questions on the European Super League. I think the team is going to have that extra motivation. Now the Super League's not happening. We need to go get top 4, and I hope that our guys go out in the first 15 minutes and hit Newcastle in the mouth. We need to go out and get an early goal. The first half of the season has always been our worst half. It always seems like we always have to make an adjustment in the second half, and we really need to go do that. If we can go out, I think the first 10 minutes would tell you everything that you need to know about this game. If Newcastle comes at us and gets more opportunities than we do in the first 10 or 15 minutes, I don't know if we'll get the result. I want to see our team hungry. I want to see these guys go out knowing that our backs are against the wall and that we have to go out there and get the 3 points today. And and anything less than 3 points is unacceptable, because that's ultimately what it is. We're in the crunch time now. And I do believe, though, that we do see the best in this team when our back's against the wall. And drawing leads last week, now our backs are against the wall. It's time for us to put in the performances, get in the 3 points by doing whatever you have to do to go get those 3 points. Doesn't matter. Even if everyone on the team is playing like shit, we need 3 points. That's all that matters. In the chat here, glad Super League plan turned down. The Bath of Top 4 is still on. Sophie, I really appreciate you. I think I look handsome right now, but if you think I look shattered, so be it. Whatever. I may or may not have gotten cookies delivered to my house at 2:30 in the morning last night, but they were delicious. They were delicious. I will say that. But yeah, ultimately, guys, I think this lineup screams ambition from Klopp. I love it. I wish the double pivot was a little bit different. But this is what happens when you have Phillips injured and Davies is Casper the Ghost and does not exist. Fabinho has to slide back there. But honestly, I kind of glazed over this earlier. I don't think it's going to be too bad having Fabinho playing center back this match. Because, again, when we had Kendall on, one of the things she talked about was that, their midfield three. And there's no Joe Willock in this game. So I was shocked, absolutely shocked to not see Joe Willock in this lineup. And the fact that Saint-Maximin's up top with Jolinton, I think I'd rather have Fabinho back there, because Saint-Maximin's pace would be a huge problem if it was Kabak and Phillips. And I think having a guy like Fabinho back there, we know what he's done against. We know what he's done against the top names. He's done great against Vardy. He's done great against Lewandowski. He's done great against Timo Werner. He's done great back there. So I think that gives me a level of confidence. For me, it gives me more confidence in Trent going forwards now, knowing that we have Fabinho, who is obviously is the best number 6 in the world, in my opinion. But he's also one of the best center backs in England when he has to play center back. So I think that gives me a little bit of a sense of belief. And honestly, I do think that Gini and Thiago should be good enough defensively to shut down the likes of John Joe Shelby, Shane Longstaff, and Almiron. Almiron kind of concerns me a little bit there. But, even what Kendall said, that's not really a natural position for him. So he's going to be kind of playing in a little bit of a different role. I think it's going to be okay. I think against any other team that might have a more talented midfield, I think it'd be an issue. But again, I don't see them. The only time I really see them getting forward is on the counterattack. That's really the only area I feel kind of nervous about, because I do think that Firmino is going to be getting really deep as well. So I think it'll be okay. But a couple things in the chat here are my boy Steve Stubbs. Appreciate you, man. Newcastle will make it difficult for us. They're going to play a 5-4-1 formation and just sit back. We will have lots of possession, and it'll be up to us to break them down. Yeah, I mean, I fully expect either Saint-Maximin or Jolinton, probably more Jolinton. He might get a little bit deeper as well, and just really clog that center of the park, which is why I think guys like Trent and Robertson and Thiago needs to be spraying the balls into the wings. And that's where the space is going to be. That's where opportunities are going to have to come from, because we really haven't had that creative dribbler this season. But I also feel like that's why we're playing a 4-2-3-1, because Firmino is a good dribbler. So allowing him to get a little bit deeper with the ball. I mean, not as deep, a little bit more shallow, maybe being around the 35, 40-yard mark, finding the ball there. I think that will help us try to create through the midfield more. It's going to be really tough. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of bodies in there. But I think, again, when you start Firmino in the 10 and then you start Jota, Salah, and Mane, their movement is great. Their fluidity is great. So I think having Firmino behind them could be huge for us. And I think we could see us break down a low block better than we have all season with this sort of a lineup. So I'm really intrigued by it. I feel really positive about it. And I think all of us fans need to feel good about it too, because it shows ambition. It shows that we want to go out and be aggressive. It shows that we want to start the game well. And I hope the team does that. I really hope that we don't start slow like we have all season. We need to go out and get a goal in the first 15 minutes. And honestly, the game could be over already, in my opinion. It's just because Newcastle is going to have to come out of their shell. There's going to be space all over the pitch. But we just got to be careful getting too far forwards. We do have to stay disciplined in that regard. In my opinion, I think Genie needs to ultimately be playing as a 6 and never getting forwards. I think the only time that one of those two guys should be getting forward is Thiago. I just think he can play a better ball into either the forwards or out on the wings. So I think that's going to be what we see. And I would love to see Genie kind of just allow Robertson to get forward and do what Milner does and just kind of fill in for the gaps behind Robertson. So it'll be interesting to see. We'll definitely keep an eye out here. But before we wrap up, Chris Welch, Fabinho, and Thiago would have been a better double pivot, but we got none to play alongside back in defense. I mean, spot on. That's 100% it right there. Fabinho, been a great center back this season. No excuses. This team should still be good enough to be Newcastle. And that's what it comes down to, right? I think even with all the injuries, even with the lineups that we have to go with, every single person on our team would probably start for Newcastle. And that's the number one thing. And Newcastle will want to keep it 0-0 until the 15 minutes and then go for it. I think Newcastle wants to keep it 0-0 through halftime. I don't think that they're going to really do much of anything in the first half when it comes to offense. I think if they can get in still tied going into the half, they'll be feeling really, really good about themselves, knowing that Liverpool's going to have to take risks because, it's no surprise. Like, everyone knows that Liverpool needs to go out and get Europe and get top 4. So the longer this game is tied, the more risks that Liverpool has to take. And inverse, Newcastle's going to have a lot of space to play with on a counterattack, things like that. So that's why it's really, really important, like you said, Chris Welch, to go out and get that early goal. So if you guys are in the chat, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button. Super appreciate it. My official prediction for this match, I'm going to say it's going to be 2-0 Liverpool. Right, just like my man Chris Welch thinks, 2-0 Liverpool. I think the goals are going to come from Sadio Mane. We'll get another one. Get back-to-back games, start getting on a roll here. And I think Jota will get one with an assist from Trent. I think Trent, that Trent-Jota connection, especially with his head, is very dangerous. And I think that Trent and Robertson, if they can get all the way to the opposing end line with the ball, that's where they're going to be dangerous. And I think that's going to happen more than one time today. I think they're going to have plenty of time out in the wings. It's going to be clogged in there. But I got a good feeling about it. I got a good feeling about it. I know our home form hasn't been great. It's going to be interesting to see what's going on in the stands. Does anyone know, is Spion Cop actually taking out all of the banners and everything, or are they actually going to be? Are they going to be staying in there now that the ESL decision's been changed? I'm not too sure. It's going to be interesting to see how we react to all of that stuff that's been happening. I think there was a protest at Anfield, or there was supposed to be a protest at Anfield today. So I just want to see a good response from the players and from Klopp. And obviously, I hope that we all stay behind the guys and support them like we know we should. Okay, the flags are still on the Kop. That's great. Good to hear that. Eve has a prediction. I'll go out there and say all 4-4 score a goal. It'll end up being 4-3. Well, 4-3 will be one entertaining-ass game. I hope for my well-being it's not 4-3 because it may be definitely entertaining, but I'll be yelling and screaming at my TV and probably wake up my girlfriend, so I don't want to be doing that. But no, I just want to see, most importantly, 3 points any way possible. But honestly, I'd also feel really good with a good performance as well. And I think we will. I fully expect to see us have 65, 70, maybe even 75% possession against these guys. And I want to see the opportunities created. I hope that we have more than 5 scoring opportunities, good scoring opportunities. And the biggest thing is we got to get back to being clinical. That was the problem against Leeds. We created more than enough opportunities to score goals. That was the problem in the second leg against Real Madrid. We created more than enough opportunities to get goals, and we just didn't capitalize on them. If we can go out and get, like Eve said, if we can go out and score four goals, something like that, and be super clinical like we've been in the past, I think that could be a huge thing for us, especially with Manchester United next week at Old Trafford, which is always a tough fixture for us. I don't know when the last time we won there. I think we drew there last year, and that was a good result for us. So But Chris Welch, you're absolutely right. Like, we have to, even a 1-0 win and it's an own goal, take it. Like, just get a bloody win. It's not about being pretty. It's just about going out and getting the 3 points. So whatever you got to do, if you have to make that extra run, if you have to sit back a little bit more for cover, do your job, do what you got to do. It's all about going out and getting those 3 points. So we're about 30 minutes from game time here. I'm going to go ahead and hop off. I will be back. With Homie and I are going to be doing our live watch along, so make sure you tune in. Actually, before we do that, Chris Welch, it's massive. Lascelles is not playing for Newcastle, their leader at the back. Yeah. If anyone watched our pre-match with Kendall, that was one thing that she talked about, was that the fans did not like. Lascelles is a beast. Lascelles is a good player. He was actually being linked with Liverpool a few years back. Apparently there's something up with Steve Bruce and him. Steve Bruce, is not a big fan of his, apparently, which I find shocking. He was playing a ton under Rafa Benitez, was playing well under Rafa Benitez. And then Steve Bruce comes in and kind of dismisses him to the bench. Not really sure what's going on there. Not really sure why. But anyway, again, I think just looking at their back line, no one really, in my opinion, is all that great. I think we have more talent everywhere across the pitch. So it's time for us to go show it. It's time for us to go start playing like Premier League champions, like European champions. And hey, you want to be in a Super League? Okay, these are the games that you have to go out and win. So let's go do it. We'll be back in 20 minutes or so for the live watch along. Make sure you tune in then. But otherwise, if you haven't yet, hit that like and subscribe button. I really appreciate you all joining me this morning. I'm going to go have some coffee and wake my ass up. But otherwise, up the Reds. Go get the 3 points. Join us for the watch along. Give us your thoughts on the match. Every single play, we'll be there with you. And then, of course, it'll be live for the post-match reactions after the homie, Sophie, and myself. So take care, everybody. See you all in 20 minutes, and up the Reds.